Hello there, and welcome to another edition of Language Bites. Today I present to you a structure or a series of structures that will come in handy when negotiating a business deal, planning for future scenarios, or evaluating risks and benefits. Why? Because you should take into account real meaning versus hypothetical meaning, and real versus hypothetical present and past results. So, conditionals, of course. Let's go ahead and take a look at zero conditionals. I'm assuming that you know the basic theory behind conditionals. Just a little recap: conditional sentences in English are made up of two basic elements, an if clause and a result clause. In the if clause, I find the condition. The elements may change, except that I always find if or something similar. And then in the result clause, I find, well, the result. So they are categorized into zero conditionals, first, second, and third, depending on the meaning. So let's go ahead and explore each one. Zero conditional is achieved by if and the present tense, and then a present tense again. For example, if we hit our targets, we get a bonus. We got time off in lieu if we worked weekends. If we lose the contract, we're in trouble. The point is that it's always true or the same. If A happens, B happens. In the second example, if you're observant enough, you may say, that's not a present tense. I know, but it's something that was true, something that, well, was the case without any doubt. If A happened, B happened. We have these possibilities, but I am achieving this by means of the simple tenses, either present simple, or a past simple followed by another past simple. Right. And in the last one, I'm opting for a more informal use of the structure, whereas perhaps in terms of meaning and use, a first conditional would be much more appropriate. But because it would sound too formal, I'm going with the zero conditional. Why would the first conditional be more appropriate then? Let's take a look at it. What it implies, what the first conditional implies in terms of form and meaning. In terms of form, a first conditional is made up of if and a present tense, followed by will and, of course, the infinitive. So, if you arrive late, you'll miss the meetings. If Jenny's working on this project, she'll learn a lot of useful stuff. If Amit's broken his leg, you'll have to give the talk. And I'm going to change distributors if Kikiba don't get their act together. Now, let's focus on the first one, which is like the default, the one we always learn from books, the first conditional, in which I find the present tense the present simple, that is, followed by will and the infinitive, of course. And the meaning is, it's very likely. It's not 100% sure, or that it's not that there is no doubt about it. If that was the case, they would express it by means of the zero conditional. But the percentage is high. That's why it's very likely. Now, once again, we've got present tense. And so that allows me to play with language and meaning and go for other tenses, other present tenses, as in the case of if Jenny's working on this project, that is a present continuous, or in the case of the third example, a present perfect. Why not? Of course, the meaning is different because, or they add a new layer of meaning to the overall meaning because I'm choosing different tenses. But in the end, I'm making these changes in the condition but the result is the same. The result is where I find this high probability. Let's go ahead and take a look at the second conditional. A second conditional is made up of if and a past tense, followed by would and the infinitive in the result clause. If taxes rose, we would consider relocating. If you arrived on time, we'd get much more done. We could save time if we adopted the new system. The meaning here is that of a hypothetical or imagined situation. The condition is not real. If taxes rose, I am supposing. I'm yes, I'm supposing. If you arrived on time, if we could say, well, sorry, if we adopted the new system, are we actually doing any of this? No. But I am flying with my imagination as to what would happen given these situations, okay? I am projecting into a future based on on a hypothetical present. I use it, well, this is the tense or the conditional that we use when we want to make suggestions, offers, and warnings more polite. And then in the last one, if you are observant, once again, I am using could instead of would. That's all right, and I can even do so by means of might. Of course, the differences implied are those differences between would, could, and might. Let's take a look at the third conditional now, which is the last, technically speaking. I achieve this by means of if and the past perfect, and then would have and the infinitive. If we'd got the contract, we would have made a lot of money. And my question would be, did we get the contract? And the answer would be no. Oops. Why? Because with the third conditional, I am mm, projecting backwards, let's say. I am thinking of hypothetical situations based on a situation that's not real, that's past, and can't change it now. So we didn't get the contract. So perhaps we didn't make that much money. If we'd got the contract, which we didn't, we would have made a lot of money. Mixed conditionals. I can mix my conditionals to achieve different purposes. The more commonly mixed are the second and the third. As in this case, if you cared more about your work, you would have been promoted years ago. In this case, I have a second conditional first and a third conditional later on. My condition, if you care more about your work, is based on the present situation. You don't care enough about your work. But given this present situation, I am making a hypothesis that's highly improbable because it's based on something that at the end of the day is not real. And I can do it the other way around. I can put the third conditional first if I had got the job, and then the second conditional. I would earn 100,000 by now. Did I get the job? No. So I am making again a present hypothesis based on a past situation, not a present as in the previous one, on a past situation of an event that did in fact not happen. I can replace if by means of other elements. I can do so by means of when and every time in a first conditional. Every time we hit our targets, we get a bonus. Unless we keep our contract with Zimirx, we'll be without a Polish partner company. Providing the building goes well, our new offices will be ready in May 2025. And as long as the pound stays strong, our projections will be realistic. So, in any of these cases, I'm going for the first conditional. Each of them adds a different layer of meaning. In the case of when and every time, they make the situation even more likely. And unless means if not, right? So we have to take into account the time reference. That is, am I basing this on the present or the past? Is it likely or is it real or completely hypothetical? And then am I going to mix them? All right. So, practice always makes perfect. So make sure to follow the link on the description box to access to activities on today's topic. And since you're here, why don't you stay around and watch another of our videos? All right. Thanks for watching.